A good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. Our hope is that you had yourselves a productive Thursday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition. President Paul Kagame has emphasized that when properly used, harnessing artificial intelligence can drive meaningful progress in sectors such as healthcare, education, energy, and many others, ultimately improving people's lives around the world. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva has said that Rwanda will continue implementing projects aimed at helping the country withstand global economic shocks as it works toward achieving the targets set out in the government's second national strategy for transformation for 2024 to 2029. We are glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. President Paul Kagame has emphasized that when properly harnessed, artificial intelligence can drive meaningful progress in sectors such as healthcare, education, energy, and many others, ultimately improving people's lives around the world. Adam Squizera with more.
President Kagame joined fellow co-chair Mark Benioff and Vice Chair Doreen Bogdan Martin for a first chat, marking the launch of the AI for Good Global Commission. He then chaired the Commission's inaugural meeting alongside Mark Benioff and Doreen Bogdan Martin. During the discussion, President Kagame stressed the need for stronger collaboration between the public and private sector to accelerate the development and adoption of artificial intelligence for the benefit of citizens.
But I have to mention one thing. It is always going to have results in as far as we can bring the public sector and private sector together, where we know that neither of them alone, the public sector or private sector, would deliver what is expected for or by the global communities.
Mark Benioff reiterated President Kagame's remarks, revealing that it was during his visit to Rwanda that he conceived the idea of establishing AI for Good Global Commission. He also emphasized that strong partnerships are essential to unlocking the full potential of AI.
That it's critical that we must have a multi-stakeholder dialogue. Only through a multi-stakeholder dialogue are we going to get to the point that we can have some understanding of how to move things forward. This is not a regulatory body. This is not a rule-making body. This is a conversation. And I hope that it will be a conversation that helps to create a higher level of enlightenment of not only where we're going, but how we can go someplace that can be more for good. Remember, Doreen, technology is never good or bad. It's what we do with the technology that matters.
President Kagame further noted that the future of the world will be shaped by how artificial intelligence is applied across key sectors such as education, healthcare, energy, and others, stressing these innovations must deliver real and measurable benefits to people.
So I think the main task is to deliver. The vision is there. You have already, it is very clear in those discussions you had with Mark, Doreen. I think it is clear where we want to be. We want to harness the good of AI, and so through industry, through policy making, and making sure that really we get the results, we show the results. That's the most important thing.
The HIGH initiative brings together 44 commissioners to identify practical ways to harness artificial intelligence to address some of the world's most pressing challenges. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva has said that Rwanda will continue implementing projects aimed at helping the country withstand global economic shocks as it works toward achieving the targets set out in the government's second national strategy for transformation for the 2024-2029. He made the remarks on Thursday while presenting to a joint sitting of Parliament the government's progress in strengthening the country's economic resilience and improving the welfare of its citizens. On the economic front, Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva said Rwanda's economy has remained resilient over the past 2 years, largely due to investments in projects that have continued to generate returns across various sectors. However, he explained that although Rwanda has succeeded in safeguarding its economy against global challenges, including armed conflicts and climate change, these factors have still contributed to rising prices in the domestic market. He noted that the government has taken measures to address the sharp increase in fertilizer prices. He added that the country has also introduced measures to prevent increases in the prices of petroleum products from placing an excessive burden on citizens. Several members of parliament and senators called for additional measures to ensure that people's living standards keep pace with rising market prices. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva assured lawmakers that the government remains committed to protecting Rwanda's economy and maintaining its resilience. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva has said that the government is deeply concerned about the persistent water shortages, particularly during the dry season, which continue to have adverse effects on the lives of Rwandans. He said the government will continue investing in critical infrastructure, especially in water supply, trade, energy, and transport, to ensure that economic activities and the well-being of citizens are sustained. Water shortages, particularly during the dry season, have already begun affecting residents in different parts of the country. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva explained to members of parliament that the water shortage is caused by several factors, including climate change, particularly during the dry season when water levels in rivers decline, water losses through leaks before it reaches consumers, and other challenges. He said the government has put in place both short-term and long-term measures to address the problem. On improving people's welfare, the Prime Minister said the government is continuing to strengthen the country's healthcare system, particularly by enhancing its capacity to prevent, detect early, and respond to disease outbreaks. He pointed to Rwanda's efforts to prevent the spread of Ebola, which has affected countries in the region. During the discussion on the health sector, members of parliament and senators asked what additional measures beyond public awareness campaigns the government is taking to address the problem of substandard alcoholic beverages that continue to claim the lives of Rwandans. The Minister of Health, Dr. Sabenza Nzimana, responded that resolving the issue will require close cooperation between citizens and authorities. The Prime Minister also stressed that the government of Rwanda will continue to prioritize the health of its citizens by building a more resilient healthcare system, improving the community-based health insurance scheme, and strengthening the country's capacity to prevent and respond to disease outbreaks. He added that despite the rising cost of healthcare, Rwandans have continued to work hard and cooperate with the government in addressing the impacts of the various global challenges affecting the country. The Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Telesphore Ndabamenye, has called on Rwandans to capitalize on the country's strong reputation for producing high-quality coffee and tea by engaging in their cultivation, noting that both commodities are in high demand on the international market. Coffee and tea farmers as well as processors say the two cash crops have transformed their lives to the extent that cultivating them has become part of their way of life. They encouraged more people, particularly young people, to take up coffee and tea farming. At the 3-day Africa Coffee and Tea Expo currently underway here in Kigali, more than 600 participants from 32 countries are showcasing products and innovations related to the coffee and tea industries. The exhibition is expected to highlight Africa's contribution to global agricultural trade while promoting partnerships, investment, market expansion, and knowledge sharing. Stakeholders across the coffee and tea value chains say the exhibition provides a valuable opportunity, particularly to identify better markets for their products.
It's going to mostly be in us, the youth, being willing to go in the fields, being able to have that patience to be able to cultivate the coffee and wait for it to be in fruition. And while it's doing that, you're also looking for the market, so that as soon as the coffee is ready, then you can be able to take it to the market. So it's really investing in the raw materials, or looking for the farmers that are going to be able to help you, because not everyone is going to be able to cultivate the coffee by themselves. So you look for farmers, or you can be able to cultivate for yourself, and then once you have the supply, or once you have the produce ready, then take it to the market that you have looked for it. Because again, if you just produce the coffee and you don't have anywhere to sell it, that's also going to be a loss for you. So it's doing both things, looking for the produce, the coffee, so that's either partnering with farmers or doing it themselves, and then branding the coffee in such a way that it represents what you want to put out in the farmers themselves, and then gradually taking it to the markets where you want to take it. So I think it's going to be like a gradual progress. There are countless opportunities. What you just need to do is motivate yourself to want to do something. There are always opportunities. So it's just, you need to start it, and once you start, you can be able to do a lot of things. Yeah.
George Omuga, Managing Director of the East African Tea Trade Association, has noted that Rwanda produces relatively small volumes of tea, but of exceptionally high quality, enabling it to secure premium prices on the international market. He has also called for increased production.
Rwanda is currently leading at the Mombasa tea auction, and the reason why Rwanda is fetching better prices at the Mombasa tea auction is not because of the quantity of teas they produce. It is because of the quality of teas they produce. At the Mombasa tea auction, quality drives prices, and globally, the buyers and consumers are willing to compensate quality instead of quantity. I'll give you a classical example. Rwanda produced 40 million kilos, exported 40 million kilos at a value of $120 million. And Kenya produced 449, exported 580 million at a value of 1.4 billion. You can see the value is not in the quantity, the value is in quality. So we still advise our tea producing countries to ensure that they improve on the quality of the manufacture, right from agronomics to processing, to make sure that they get value from the quality of the product they offer at the auction. The auction is very sensitive, and it is the perfect avenue for determining the value of African tea, and it is not disrupted by any manual intervention or human intervention. The only thing that is impacting that auction is the quality of the tea that you deliver, and then the other factors like the geopolitical factors that has negatively impacted our traditional markets.
Rwanda's Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Telesphore Ndabamenye, has acknowledged that Rwanda has reached a stage where the country must increase both the quality and quantity of its coffee and tea production, emphasizing that young people should play a leading role in achieving that goal.
The future of African coffee and tea lies not only in how much we grow, but in how much value we add before our products leave our shores. In roasting, blending, packaging, branding, and in telling our own history to the world. With the African continent free trade area, we have a one-in-generation opportunity to trade more with one another, to let Africans enjoy African coffee and tea, and to build regional value chains that keep more value and more jobs here on one continent. We must open the doors of finance and invest in our farmers and processors. And above all, we must make agriculture sector of opportunity, innovation, dignity for our young people. It is precisely where the Africa Coffee and Tea Expo earns its place. It is where opportunity becomes action.
Over the past years, coffee has generated more than $527 million in export earnings for Rwanda, while tea has earned more than $533 million. By 2029, when the government's second national strategy for transformation concludes, coffee is projected to generate more than $115 million annually, while tea is expected to earn more than $164 million per year. The coffee sector provides employment to more than 400,000 Rwandans engaged in coffee cultivation and processing, while more than 100,000 people work in tea farming and tea processing factories. Moving ahead, the management of Nyungwe National Park and its partners say they will continue strengthening public awareness campaigns to educate communities on the importance of conserving the park's rich biodiversity as part of efforts to eliminate environmental crimes that threaten the protected area. They made the remarks during a meeting that brought together the park's management and its partners in Nyaruguru district. Nyungwe National Park was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2023 in recognition of its outstanding value in conserving biodiversity. It is home to one of Africa's oldest montane rainforests, a wide variety of unique plant and animal species, as well as rare birds and primates found in only a few places around the world. However, illegal activities that damage the park's ecosystems continue to be reported, prompting the park's management, government institutions, and development partners to work together on long-term strategies to protect its biodiversity. The meeting held in Nyaruguru district brought together stakeholders from various sectors to identify sustainable solutions to these challenges. The manager of Nyungwe National Park, Prote Niyigaba, said the park's management will continue doing everything possible to ensure that communities living around Nyungwe benefit from the opportunities created by the park. He stressed that conserving Nyungwe cannot succeed without the active participation on the surrounding communities. Regarding public awareness, he said plans are underway to enable more local residents to visit the park so they can better understand its value and become committed to protecting it. These efforts will also include the introduction of conservation competitions. Nyaruguru District Mayor Dr. Emmanuel Murwanyashyaka said both local communities and the district have already achieved significant progress thanks to tourism revenues, adding that everyone should recognize the park's importance to their livelihoods. Nyungwe National Park covers an area of 101,900 hectares. On this area, 9 hectares have been damaged by wildfires and still require ecological restoration. The park generates substantial tourism revenue for the country every year. 5 of the 14 sectors that make up Nyaruguru District border Nyungwe Forest. Among the major threats facing the park are poaching, arson, illegal trade, wildlife roadkill, and wildlife trafficking. Between 2022 and 2025, the number of snares found in Nyungwe declined by 50%, a development that the park's management describes as a significant achievement. The ultimate goal is to reduce the number of snares to zero through continued community education. During the 2025-2026 fiscal year, communities living around Nyungwe shared more than 1.2 billion Rwandan francs in tourism revenue generated by the park, excluding compensation paid to people whose property was damaged by wildlife. Rwanda is set to receive its first shipment of petroleum products in August under a new government-to-government agreement with Kenya and Tanzania. The government says the direct import arrangement will improve fuel security, reduce reliance on intermediaries, and create opportunities to supply regional markets. Hinara Gladys has more.
Rwanda has expanded its petroleum transportation and storage infrastructure as part of its strategy to import fuel directly from international producers. Under the new agreement, petroleum products will be received through the ports of Mombasa in Kenya and Dar es Salaam in Tanzania before being transported to Rwanda. Fuel consumers and petroleum importers say they expect the new system to deliver significant benefits. Rwanda has imported enough gasoline to meet the country's demand for 1 month, along with 60% of its monthly diesel requirements from Oman. The shipment is expected to arrive in Rwanda at the beginning of next month. Oman will ship the products to Rwanda through the port of Mombasa in Kenya. Minister of Trade and Industry Antoine-Marie Kajangwe says the agreements recently signed with Kenya and Tanzania will enable petroleum importers to purchase fuel directly without relying on intermediaries.
Now that RNIC is able to negotiate directly with international suppliers, it's able to enter into long-term arrangements that can lock in prices at certain fees and make sure that those prices are stable for a longer period of time, regardless of the fluctuations that might happen. Now, while that is true for certain fees, there's others that are determined by war and other major conflicts or even other major disruptions that could occur. But what we expect over the next few months is stability of prices. Now that RNIC is able to negotiate directly with international suppliers, it's able to enter into long-term arrangements that can lock in prices at certain fees and make sure that those prices are stable for a longer period of time, regardless of the fluctuations that might happen.
The president of Association of Petroleum Importers and Distributors, Eric Mutaganda, says the industry is optimistic that the new agreements will bring substantial benefits.
So the first advantage is getting good price from the supplier, which will have a positive impact on the Rwanda economy. So for this bulk purchase done by the government, it's not only Rwanda. Currently, Kenya is using it, and Uganda is using it, and most probably other countries will follow. So the advantage of this, we will get good price, we pay the product in local currency, which means the forex risk is not on us, it's on the government, and mitigate the risk of any potential supply problem between the two ports, which was Dar es Salaam and Mombasa. Now we're using two ports, which will be Tanga and Mombasa.
Minister Kajangwe also says the new system of importing petroleum products directly from oil-producing and exporting countries will help stabilize fuel prices. It will also enable Rwanda to export petroleum products to some neighboring countries in the region.
The arrangement is really made in a way that will remove a lot of fees and taxes and margins that were being taken by different players along the value chain. And we expect that those savings will be passed on to the local consumers, but also the re-export market. Over the next few months and years, there's plans to build more storage depots in the country, petroleum storage depots, that will facilitate also additional storage of petroleum products to really make Rwanda into a hub for trading and selling of petroleum products. Our intention has always been to ensure that Rwanda has security of supply. It has access to both corridors, that we can continue to leverage on the partnership that we have with both Kenya and Tanzania. And we think that this is going to strengthen Rwanda's ability to trade in the region and make our economy even more competitive moving forward.
On 29th June 2026, Rwanda National Energy Company and Gulf Bulk Petroleum Tanzania Limited signed an agreement to facilitate the importation and storage of bulk refined petroleum products through the port of Tanga in Tanzania. Following the agreement signed with Kenya to facilitate petroleum imports, this partnership marks another important milestone in the government of Rwanda's strategy to utilize both the northern and central corridors, working with regional partners. The agreements, signed on Monday in Nairobi, comprise a Memorandum of Understanding, a tripartite agreement, and a transport and storage agreement. The signing is expected to open the northern corridor for Rwanda's petroleum imports fully. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Thank you on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team for sticking with us on RwandaTV News. My name is Martina Abera, and until next time, stay safe, have a good night.